Level 1, negative balance. The alarm doesn't go off. You turned it off at 5:47 a.m. because you never actually slept. You just lay there in the dark, watching the ceiling change color as headlights from the street swept across it. One car, then another, then nothing, for a long time. You are 45 years old. You have worked at Denton Fulfillment Center for 23 years. You were 22 when you started. You told yourself it was temporary. You told yourself that with the confidence of someone who had no idea what temporary meant. The sheets smell like the same detergent your mother used. You don't know why you keep buying it. You get up. The bathroom mirror is small. It's been small since you moved in. You told yourself you'd get a bigger one. You never did. You look at your face in it, and your face looks back at you, and neither of you says anything. You brush your teeth. The bristles are splayed. You've been meaning to replace the toothbrush for 6 weeks. You spit, you rinse. You look at the counter. There is a utility bill folded in half next to the soap dish. You don't unfold it. You already know what it says. You go to the kitchen. You put water in the coffee maker. You put the filter in, and then you stand there while it runs, because there is nothing else to do with your hands. Your phone is on the table. You pick it up. Your banking app has a notification. You open it. The number on the screen has a minus sign in front of it. Negative $41.17. You read it again. Your brain tries to make it say something else. It doesn't. Your overdraft fee from 3 days ago. The automatic payment for your car insurance that you forgot was set to pull this week. The math is simple, and the math is brutal, and you stand there in your kitchen holding your phone with the coffee maker dripping behind you, and you do not move for almost 2 minutes. You put the phone face down on the table. You pour the coffee. Level 2. $200. You've been at Denton for 23 years and your supervisor is 31. His name is Kyle. Kyle has very clean shoes. Kyle sends emails with bullet points and bold text, and he schedules meetings to discuss the outcomes of previous meetings, and he looks at you sometimes with an expression that isn't quite pity, and isn't quite contempt, and is somehow worse than both. You clock in at 7:03 a.m. The time clock makes a sound like a staple going in. You walk to your station. You know every inch of this building. You know which fluorescent light flickers in aisle 7. You know the exact pitch of the conveyor belt when it needs to be adjusted. You know which drain in the break room never fully empties. You know all of this the way you know the layout of a cell. At 9:15 a.m., Kyle calls you into the small glass office near the loading dock. You can see through the glass. The entire floor can see through the glass. You walk across the floor, and you feel 23 pairs of eyes decide whether or not to watch. Kyle is sitting behind the desk. He has a paper in front of him. He doesn't look up when you come in. He waits 3 seconds longer than necessary before he looks up. You notice the 3 seconds. You file them away. He says there's been a discussion at the management level. He says restructuring. He says optimization of workflows. He says your role may be transitioning. He says all of this in a voice that has clearly rehearsed it. He says the company values your years of service. He slides a paper across the desk. It is not a termination notice. It is a lateral transfer to overnight stocking, a different schedule, a different team, the same hourly rate, minus the shift differential you've been receiving for 8 years. The math works out to roughly a $200 difference per paycheck. You look at the paper. You look at Kyle. Kyle looks at the paper. You sign it. You walk back across the floor. The conveyor belt is running. The fluorescent light in aisle 7 flickers once. You return to your station. You pick up the next box. You scan it. The scanner beeps. You place the box on the belt. You reach for the next one. Level 3, $2,000. Your car is a 2004 dark gray Toyota Camry. It has 187,000 miles on it. The driver's side window doesn't seal completely in the rain, and there's a sound from the rear suspension that comes and goes, mostly in cold weather. You've been driving it for 9 years. You know every rattle by name. It needs a timing chain. You've known this for 4 months. The mechanic, a quiet man named Dennis who works out of a bay on the edge of town, wrote the estimate on the back of a receipt. $2,100. He said it kindly. He said he could do it cheaper than the dealer. He said it as though cheaper made it possible. You tape the estimate to the inside of your kitchen cabinet door. Behind the door, so you don't see it every time you open it. Only when you mean to look. You drive to your second job on Tuesday and Thursday nights. You work as a cart attendant at a large grocery chain, 11 minutes from your apartment. You started this job 14 months ago. You told one person, your sister. She said she was proud of you. You didn't call her back for 3 weeks. On a Thursday night in November, you are in the parking lot at 10:48 p.m. The lot is mostly empty. The sodium lights make everything look amber and sick. You are pushing a long line of carts back toward the building, and the wind comes across the open asphalt, and it is cold enough to make your eyes water. A man in a new SUV idles near the cart return. He is waiting for you to retrieve the last cart so he can pull into the space. You are moving as quickly as you can. He revs the engine once, not aggressively, just impatiently. A small, unconscious noise of a man who has never had to think about whether or not he would make rent. You lock the cart train, you pull it toward the building. You do not look at him. Inside, your manager tells you the store is switching to a new scheduling app. You have to download it and enter your availability by Friday. She says it like this, is helpful information. You nod, you take off your vest, you hang it on the hook in the back room. You look at your phone. The app is 47 megabytes. Your phone storage is at 94% capacity. You delete 3 photos to make room. One is of your daughter's 8th grade graduation. You scroll back and find it in your deleted folder. You restore it. You delete a podcast episode instead. You walk to your car. You get in. You sit for a moment before you start it. The parking lot is almost completely empty now. The amber lights hum over empty asphalt. You start the engine, and it turns over, and you sit and listen to the rear suspension as you pull out of the lot. Because you always do that now. You are always listening for when it gets worse. Level 4, $12,000. Your daughter's name is Maya. She is 17. She lives with her mother in a 3-bedroom house, 24 minutes away. You know the exact drive time because you have driven it hundreds of times, and you always note it when you pull up, and when you leave, the way you track all things that cost you something. Maya is a junior. She is good at math. Her teacher sent an email to her mother, who forwarded it to you, saying that Maya should be looking at engineering programs. The teacher named 3 universities. You opened the email on your lunch break, sitting in your car with a sandwich from home. You read the names of the universities. You looked them up, the tuition numbers loaded on your phone, and you sat there with your sandwich, and you looked at the numbers, and the numbers looked back at you. You called your ex-wife. Not about the email. Not at first. You asked about Maya. She said Maya was fine. She said Maya had been asking about visiting a campus. She said it in a neutral tone, a tone that has evolved over 11 years of shared logistics and financial tension into something that communicates everything, while technically saying nothing. You said you were working on it. She didn't respond to that. She said she had to go. You sat in your car for 7 more minutes. The break was over. You went back inside. That night you opened a tab on your phone and looked at FAFSA. You looked at the income thresholds. You looked at the asset calculations. You made $36,400 last year across both jobs. You stared at that number. You have $1,200 in a savings account you haven't touched in 2 years. It was going to be the start of the timing chain fund. You looked at scholarship databases for 4 nights in a row. You made a folder on your phone called Maya College. You saved 17 links to it. You have not opened the folder since you made it. That was 6 weeks ago. She doesn't know about the folder. You will tell her when there is something in it worth telling. Level 5, $47,000. You have a credit card. You have had it for 11 years. The limit is $4,500. The balance is $4,211. You have been paying the minimum for 2 years. The minimum is $89 per month. You did the math once on what that meant in terms of payoff timeline, and you closed the browser. You got the card during the divorce. There were legal fees. There was a security deposit on the apartment. There was a month when the second job didn't exist yet, and the first job alone wasn't enough. And Maya needed school supplies, and you put school supplies on the card, and then you put the electric bill on the card, and then it became the kind of thing that just existed, like the cabinet, with the estimate behind the door. You have a coworker on the overnight shift named Russell. Russell is 62. Russell has worked nights for 9 years. Russell knows which bathroom to use during which supervisor's rounds. Russell knows how to make the shift pass. He brings a thermos. He is kind in the way that people who have given up on being seen are kind. Quietly, practically, without expectation. One night Russell shows you a picture on his phone. His daughter just bought a house. He shows you the picture with the specific pride of a man who understands that his contribution to that house is invisible and permanent. Years of overnight shifts absorbed into a down payment he'll never be named in. He says she did real good. You say she really did. He puts the phone away. You both go back to work. You think about Russell for the rest of the shift. You think about the picture. You think about the fact that Russell seems okay. Not happy. Not broken. Just okay. You try to figure out what okay looks like from the inside. You scan boxes until 6 a.m. You drive home in the gray Camry in the early light. The rear suspension makes its sound. You listen to it. You try to identify whether it's different from last week. You think maybe it is. You think maybe it isn't. You pull into your parking space. You sit in the car for a while with the engine off. Level 6, $200,000. Your mother calls on a Sunday. She calls every Sunday. You let it ring twice before you answer, because you need 2 rings to adjust your voice into something that sounds like a person who is managing. She asks how you are. You say you're good. She asks about Maya. You say Maya is great. She asks if you're eating. You say yes. She pauses. She has been pausing at the same point in this conversation for about 3 years. The pause means she knows. She has always known. She asks if there's anything you need. You say no. She tells you that your cousin David is selling his house. She tells you the number. She mentions it casually, as people do when the number means nothing alarming to them. The number is somewhere above 200,000. She says the market is strange out there. You say yeah. She says David is thinking about moving to Florida. She says it like this is a reasonable thing a person does. You try to think about what it would feel like to have a house to sell. You try to think about what it would feel like to decide to move somewhere because you wanted to. You can't find the feeling. After you hang up, you sit on the couch for a while. The TV is off. The apartment is quiet in the specific way of a place that only one person lives in. You can hear the refrigerator from the couch. You've always been able to hear the refrigerator from the couch. You open your banking app. The balance is $23. Your direct deposit hits on Thursday. Today is Sunday. You close the app. You pick up your phone again. You open the folder called Maya College. You look at the 17 links. You tap on the first one. A scholarship page loads slowly. The deadline was November 15th. Today is December 4th. You close the tab. You don't delete the folder. You put the phone face down on the couch cushion next to you. You look at the ceiling. Outside, a car pulls into the parking lot. The headlights move across your wall. Then they're gone. Level 7. The balance. Spring comes. Maya's teacher sends another email. There is a regional engineering competition. Maya placed second. There is a photograph attached. Maya is holding a certificate. She is standing next to a project board. She is smiling with the easy confidence of someone who doesn't know yet what she's about to cost and be worth. You print the photo at the self-service machine at the grocery store, where you push carts. It costs 49 cents. You put it on the refrigerator with a magnet, shaped like a state you've never been to. You look at it every morning, when you get the coffee filters. At work, at Denton, a younger man named Tyler starts at your station. He asks you questions. He asks how the scanner works. He asks about the codes on the inventory stickers. He asks with the manic energy of someone who thinks this is a stepping stone. You remember being that. You answer every question. You answer carefully and completely, because the only knowledge you own is this building. One afternoon, Tyler asks you how long you've worked here. You tell him. Dishes, 23 years. His face does something. He tries to put it back where it was. He mostly succeeds. He says, wow. He says that's wild. He says he's only planning to be here about 6 months. Then he's going back to school. You say good. You say good for him. You mean it. That is the strange thing. You mean it completely. On a Thursday night in late April, you finish your shift at the grocery store, and you walk to the Camry in the lot. It is warmer now. The sodium lights look different in warmth, more orange, less brutal. You get in the car. You put the key in. You turn it. The engine turns over, and then there is a sound, and then there is nothing. Just the clicking of something that has finally given out. You try again. Same clicking. You put your hands on the steering wheel. You look through the windshield at the empty cart return under the orange light. You take out your phone. You call Dennis. He answers on the 4th ring. You explain the sound. He is quiet for a moment. He says it sounds like the timing chain finally went. He says you can have it towed to him tomorrow. He says he'll see what he can do. You say okay. You thank him. You hang up. You sit in the car that isn't running in the parking lot under the orange lights, and you do the math that you have been doing for months in the background of everything. The math that runs underneath every conversation and every phone call and every Sunday with your mother, and every photo of Maya holding a certificate, and the math still doesn't work. It doesn't work at $36, $400. It doesn't work minus $200 per paycheck. It doesn't work with a $4,211 credit card balance and $23 in your checking account until Thursday, and a timing chain that just went, and a daughter who placed second in a regional engineering competition, and a folder on your phone with 17 links in it, and a toothbrush with splayed bristles and a utility bill you haven't opened, and an estimate taped to the inside of a cabinet door. The math doesn't work. You know this. You have known this. You look at the cart return. You look at your phone. You open the banking app one more time. You look at the number, $23. Then you open the folder, Maya College, 17 links. You tap the second one this time. A new page loads. Deadline, May 30th. You read the eligibility requirements. You read them slowly. You read them the way you listen to the rear suspension. For changes, for information, for something you can actually use. You start filling out the first field. Your name. You type it in. The parking lot is still. The orange lights hum. Somewhere behind you, the store is closing. You can hear the automatic doors cycling open and shut as the last employees leave. One by one, the lot lights in the distance start going off. You keep typing. You are 45 years old. You have not quit. That is the only number that has never changed.